Oh, this one was tough. This one was very tough. Week 13 was kind of lackluster. A lot of teams were on bye, so we had a lot less games. But yeah, this was something that I guess wasn't fully expecting. But yeah, at least we had some great primetime games, in my opinion. So let's kind of dive a little bit into those. But elephant in the room, yeah, I went to the Texans game. That was a great experience up until the last drive. But yeah, I'll get into that a little later. But either way, guys, sorry I'm a little bit late on this video. I had some things kind of come up. But yeah, let's kind of get into it, I guess. So, first game of the week, pretty entertaining. We had the Seahawks and the Cowboys. I say entertaining, but this should not have been entertaining. The Cowboys should have very easily blown out the Seahawks. And the Seahawks were, actually winning at the end of the half. So, this game was pretty close all the way up until the very end, where the Seahawks kind of forgot, to cover their main guy. But yeah, I would say this was a very entertaining game for what I thought it was going to be. I didn't think this was going to be a good game whatsoever, but Cowboys actually came in and almost choked this game, but were able to, kind of be a good team towards the end. But the Seahawks, kind of surprising they put up that kind of fight, to be honest. I don't know if the Dallas defense was just off or if the Seahawks offense was just on. Could have been both. I don't know, but this game shouldn't have been as close as it should have. But a lot of bad defense in the first half by the Cowboys and a lot of stupid penalties. But Geno Smith had a pretty decent game, 334, 3 touchdowns, one pick. Dak kind of had almost similar numbers except no pick. But yeah, I don't even know who Zach Charbonnet is. But yeah, that's their running back. Pollard didn't do that great. But, neither did the team. So, DK Metcalf had a crazy game, 3 touchdowns. He had a real long touchdown at the end over there. They just couldn't find an answer for him, which is a little concerning for I feel like the Cowboys defense. They don't have a guy who's big enough that can cover big targets that are efficient. CeeDee Lamb went crazy. Dak was throwing to him at least every 3 plays. 116 yards, a touchdown. He's putting up pretty similar numbers. I saw a picture. He's putting up pretty similar numbers to A.J. Brown. Like, they're pretty much identical. But you can see here, this game shouldn't have been as close as it should have. As you can see here, 13 more minutes of possession time, 8 more first downs. I mean, the Cowboys should have easily won by double-digit points here. But still a really entertaining game. Luckily, I think that was like one of the first Thursday night games that wasn't trash in a long time. But yeah. Let's just get this out the way. Let's just get it out the way, I guess, Texans and the Broncos. This was a game that I did attend, and this was probably Russ's worst game of the season. So I guess I'm bad luck. But yeah, this game, so firsthand, the Broncos came out, we won the toss, we selected to defer, and, defense comes out, makes an incredible first stop, straight 3 and out. Offense goes out there, gives it right back, 3 and out. I will say, though, I know everyone's going to say excuses, but tons, and I mean tons of missed calls by the officials this game. At least 3 missed pass interference on the Broncos. Even on the Texans, Samaje Perine, our running back, ended up catching the ball, and it was out in the flats. He ends up fumbling it. The defender makes him fumble the ball, and the defender runs it into the end zone, and makes a touchdown. At that point, it's like, I don't know what the score would have been, but it would have been like, I don't know, 20-3 or something like that. And the refs are like, oh no, we stopped the play before he fumbled it. And I'm like, no, y'all didn't. So the Broncos got lucky on that in terms of that not being a touchdown. But the 3 missed pass interference calls for the Broncos, and it just makes no sense. There was one deep to Sims that didn't get called. There was one on Cortland that didn't get called. And I believe there was one more that didn't get called, and it just didn't make any sense. I didn't know why they weren't getting these penalties. 2 of them very clear. One of them was, I guess, a toss-up, but at least 2 pass interference calls that were not called. The offensive line was not good this game. I know you're going to put a lot of the blame on Russ this game, but the offensive line did not do its job. Tons of missed calls. I mean, they were just out of sync. I believe a rookie caused so much destruction this game. I think he had like a tipped pass, a blocked punt. He had like 2 sacks, like 4 tackles for loss. I mean, he was going crazy. I don't know who he is, but it was some defender. Tank Dell ended up getting hurt, I believe, on the second drive. Yeah, he got hurt on the second drive. He's out for the season with a surgery for repairing his fibula. So that kind of sucks. He was probably the second best rookie receiver this season so far. The Broncos' defense in the first half was non-existent. They couldn't cover Nico Collins. Nico Collins, almost all of his yards and stats were from the first half. Like, he was balling out in the first half. And then they were like, all right, I think we should probably play defense on this guy. Pat Surtain actually got hurt. Missed probably about 2 drives. That really sucked. He hyperextended his leg because of the stupid turf. So he was out for a little bit. Some of Nico Collins' big plays were actually on that drive. But you could tell Pat Surtain just wasn't 100% when he came back into the game. If you ever hyperextend your leg, it hurts. Especially for a corner, you know what I mean? That's a crucial hyperextend because you need to be on point so much. But yeah, that kind of sucked for him. But yeah, there was a lot of just dumb penalties that the Broncos were getting, and that the refs were calling. It's like 4th and 3, and the Texans are in the red zone, and they're going for it, surprisingly. They end up false starting, and Alex Singleton, our linebacker, ends up pushing him. Just to push him. It was a light push, nothing like a hit or nothing like that. And CJ Stroud was like, what the heck? He just pushed me. And goes back at Singleton, headbutts him, and is all in his face, yelling at him, chirping. And then Singleton's like, bro, what? And pushes him. Lightly pushes, by the way. And the refs aggressively just throw the flag. I mean, the most aggressive throws, two refs were aggressively throwing flags. And then, so it's a false start. And then unsportsmanlike penalty, I don't know what they called, I forgot. And the ref literally said, we're going to just negate the first call and initiate the second call. And I've never seen that. It wasn't offset penalties. They just straight up said, we're not going to count the false start here. We're just going to count the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. I've never heard that. And everyone around me, because I was in the Broncos, part, everyone was like, what? I have never heard that. I've never seen that before. And it just made no sense. So, I mean, the refs, this crew was just abysmal to watch. Just stupid. Yeah, the Broncos defense kind of locked up, second half. Broncos rallied back. The Texans were choking in the second half. They only scored 9 points. Broncos scored 2 touchdowns. This game should have easily been won by the Broncos. The Texans did not play a great game. It's just a matter of the Broncos playing really bad, shooting ourselves in the foot, and the refs being a big part of that. But yeah, this was a very entertaining game. Russ's 3 picks, I would say aren't all his fault. The last one definitely was his fault. That was a really stupid play, bad coaching by Sean Payton on that last drive. But the other 2 picks, one of them was tipped at the line of scrimmage by that rookie. So, incredible play by the corner, by the way, to contort his body to catch that pick. And the other pick he threw deep down to Sutton and kind of got picked down the middle. Corner made a great play as well. So, if you put those plays on another team, Russ maybe throws 1 pick. You know what I mean? It's just a matter of the corners made great plays, the safeties made great plays on these particular 3 plays. One of these at least should have been dropped. The corners just have receiver hands on the Texans. Very sticky if they can get to the football. But we also had a fumble. We made somebody fumble. The ball was on the ground for like 3 seconds. 4 Broncos right near it. No one could jump on it. It was one of the worst fumble recovery attempts I've ever seen. And I was front view to see it. And it was just like, how did no one get on that? And it was just crazy. The very next play, the Texans punt. The very next play, Russ throws the pick. We jump on that fumble. That pick never happens. Little things like that just kind of let the Broncos lose. Just kind of the way the day was going to go. But, yeah, I had great seats up close to the action. And it was fun. I had fun. It would have been better if the Broncos would have won, obviously. But I will say the Texans fans were not toxic. The Texans fans were not toxic like they were last time I went in 2019 when Drew Lock beat them, blew them out. They were a lot more toxic, probably because they lost. But, yeah, there was no sore winners, in the stadium. There was a lot of sore winners when we were walking by the tailgates, though. It was brutal, But, yeah, it was fun. I had a great time. Very close to the action, like I said, but wish they would have come out with the dub. I will say, though, this makes me feel better about the Broncos in a way because of how easily we could have won the game. It's just a matter of like little self-inflicted wounds that made us lose. So we could have easily won that game. Next, we have the Chargers and the Patriots with one of the probably boringest games of the season. Patriots got goose egged in probably the lowest goose egg in the last couple of years, 6-0. I didn't watch anything of this game. Doesn't seem like I missed much. Well, I didn't really see any of the 12 o'clock games, to be honest, because I was at the game. But they were kind of showing highlights here and there of literally every team except this game. And, there's nothing really to go off of here. No offense, no defense, clearly. It was all defense, no offense. There's not really anything to go off of here, especially with the score. There's nothing to go off of. Next, we have the Lions and the Saints. By the way, I did get the Cowboys game correct. I did get the Broncos game wrong. I did get the Chargers game correct, barely. And I did get this game correct as well with the Lions and the Saints. Jared Goff had a pretty decent game. But outside of that, this was kind of close for what it was. This looked like it was going to be a blowout, and then the Saints just kind of rallied back. But, Alvin Kamara ends up hurting that dude on the sideline, gives him a free football and a free jersey. And apparently it's like, we're good again. But, yeah, this was a insane close game for what it was. The Lions barely closed us out. They should have been a blowout, but they didn't. As you can see here, the possession time pretty close. Little things could have went the other way, but it is what it is. I'm not really gonna sit here and dwell on it too much, but this is kind of how the game went. As you can see here, by the first down in possession time, Detroit actually had less of both. The Saints kind of Should have won some. If they would have played better in the first quarter, they would have, probably won the game. Very easily won the game. Next, we have the Cardinals and the Steelers. This was a pretty big upset, in my opinion, because I didn't have the Cardinals winning hardly any games the rest of the season. The Steelers should have easily won this game, but yeah, they didn't. This game, Kyler Murray didn't even play that good. I would say the Steelers just played really bad in terms of the defense. They just couldn't do anything. I feel like there's a lack of even Minkah Fitzpatrick kind of was talking about it. There's a lack of juice in the locker room. A lot of people not putting in the time and I would say work, and it's showing. It's really showing in my opinion. The James Conner probably had his best game I think that he's been with the Cardinals. 25 carries, 105, 2 touchdowns. Pretty surprising. He's been pretty trash this entire year. Najee Harris, I still don't know if he's good or not. He's just a big body who doesn't do much, but he's super strong and has breakout games. But Trey McBride had a pretty good game, pretty good for a tight end. Equal first downs, better on third downs though, and possession time was pretty much the same. But Cardinals just took care of business. Oh, one thing I didn't forget to mention during the Broncos-Texans game, another big reason why they lost. 0 for 11 on third downs. You can't be 0 and 11 on third downs and expect to win the game. You got to convert a third down. So that was a big reason why the Broncos lost as well. Next, we have the Falcons and the Jets. I did get this game correct. I did pick the Falcons. This game was a lot closer than it should have been. Tim Boyle, luckily he's garbage. Desmond Ridder. You know how I feel about Desmond Ridder, man. Get him out of the league. I hate this guy. He's such a horrible quarterback. He's so annoying that he has a starting job. Put him as a backup, please. The Falcons need a quarterback, and I'm tired of seeing Desmond Ridder as their quarterback. Bijan didn't really have that great of a game. Neither did Dalvin Cook. The Jets are kind of at a, it's a lost season. It's a lost season kind of from after the first game, but it is what it is. First downs, pretty much the same. Third down conversion, Falcons did a little bit better. Possession time, the Jets barely beat them on there. But, this was just a pretty bland game. Just kind of a lucky ending win. The Jets randomly get a safety. That was the first highlight they showed at the Houston game. But, pretty interesting. Colts and the Texans. This was a close game. Came down to the very, very end. Colts end up stealing this win, in my opinion. I did get this game correct. I did pick the Colts. Gardner Minshew had a clutch touchdown to a wide open. I forgot what his name was. Was it Pittman? I don't know if it was Pittman or not. But yeah, it was a pretty good game. Will Levis had not that great of a game. I did see that he was talking trash to DeAndre Hopkins, hey, do better. I lost a lot of respect for DeAndre Hopkins this season when he decided to go to the Titans, you know what I mean? For money, you know what I mean? If you're going to decide money over legacy, that's kind of selfish of you, you know what I mean? Go to a contender. Don't go to the Titans to make your numbers look better and not accomplish anything. Derrick Henry had a great game. I feel like the Colts were able to contain Derrick Henry, this thing wouldn't even went to overtime. But as you can see here, Tennessee had more first downs, more possession, and still lost. More efficient on third down, and they still lost this game. Shows to you this game was almost luckily won by the Colts. Next we have the Dolphins and the Commanders. Everyone knew how this game was going to go. This doesn't surprise anybody. If you honestly had the Commanders upsetting the Dolphins here, you probably would have won $1 billion because there's no way that they were going to lose this game. There's not really much to go off of. Tyreek had an insane game. I believe Terry McLaurin didn't even have a target this game, which makes no sense. But Miami, they had more first downs, more possession time. They weren't in a lot of scenarios where they had to punt. As you can see here, they only punted 3 times in the whole game. So 3 unsuccessful drives for the Dolphins. Obviously, I got that game correct. Let's go into the 3 o'clock games with the Panthers and the Buccaneers. The Panthers actually were going to look like they were going to win the game. They were up at the end, and then they just kind of fell apart. Bryce Young still isn't doing anything flashy. He did have a couple great throws though this game. Chuba Hubbard had a great game. Baker Mayfield had an okay game. But yeah, Mike Evans, I can't fathom how he's either completely useless or an elite wide receiver 1. Next game, he's probably going to have 24 yards, no touchdowns. This game, he has 162 and a touchdown. I don't understand Mike Evans. He's the most weird receiver. I believe he has 10 straight seasons somehow with 1,000 yards. It doesn't make sense. And half of those games, he does great. Same first downs, possession time. The Panthers had 7 more minutes, but couldn't pull off the win. 16 total punts this game, 12 penalties. The Panthers kind of let this one slip away. They could have easily won this, kind of just how their season is going. Next, we have the Browns and the Rams. I did get this game correct, along with the Bucs-Panthers. Joe Flacco comes in first game of the season, I believe. First drive, throws a touchdown, 2 touchdowns, a pick. Did pretty decent, for a first time being on the team. Matthew Stafford the Rams are just better than the Browns. They're just better than the Browns. They're more sophisticated. They're more equipped to win football games right now. And it showed, This Puka guy, man, he's going crazy. He has the most receiving yards out of all the rookies. I believe he's probably in the top 5 in receiving yards. He's going crazy right now. As you can see here, 40 first downs. The offenses on this game were just moving the ball. 9 more possession time for the Browns, but couldn't do anything with it. But, the Rams just put up points, and, they were just more effective and just scoring more touchdowns, and that's just kind of what led to this game being the score for what it was. Next, we had the 49ers and the Eagles. Pretty big blowout. The Eagles couldn't get nothing going. 49ers were locking them down on the defensive side. Offense was Deebo Samuel went stupid. Devontae Smith had a great game. Christian McCaffrey had a great game. DeAndre Swift got leveled. He was just getting contained all game. Brock Purdy had a pretty easy game. He doesn't play that great. He just game manages. He lets his teammates do the talking. Jalen Hurts had an okay game, but the Eagles were just out of sync defensive-wise, and they just couldn't get things going. But I will say the 49ers, they just put up points, plain and simple. As you can see here, there's 47 first downs. The no defense was being played here. Tons of possession time, obviously, on both sides, but San Francisco just put up more points, less possession time. Just honestly, the Eagles just kind of got exposed a little bit, Got exposed a little bit, and it's fine, but hey, they may not. This game's close, man. The NFC playoffs for that first seed is very close. Next, we have Sunday night. I didn't get to really watch this game just because we were still traveling back. But the Chiefs and the Packers, huge upset in my opinion for the Packers to go out and beat the Chiefs. Pretty insane. I'm pretty glad that the Chiefs are actually losing football games. They're probably going to still get in the playoffs, but the fact that they're losing to some of these teams, losing to us, losing to the Packers, the Jets, these are teams that they should be beating, and they're just not. Mahomes had a pretty trash game. Jordan Love had an amazing game. Pacheco had a pretty good game. Dillon, and I'm not sure how Jones did. But yeah, as you can see here, also not a lot of defense was played. 49 first downs. Pretty even on possession time, but a lot of penalties this game. I'm just glad that the Chiefs lost. You know what I mean? I don't really care how the Packers won, but they got the job done. Next, we had Monday night with the Bengals and the Jaguars. This game was a lot closer than I feel like it should have been. I feel like the Jaguars should have very easily won this game. I did get the Chiefs-Packers game wrong. I did get this game wrong. I had the Jaguars winning. Jake Browning wasn't supposed to do what he did, but he did. Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars offense just is strange. This should easily be a playoff team, and they are just playing very mediocre from time to time, very inconsistent. Jamar Chase had an amazing game. Evan Ingram is actually kind of good now, which I'm kind of happy for him because I was a huge Evan Ingram hater. I was a big Evan Ingram. I hated him. And it's great to see him actually kind of evolve into a good tight end. As you can see here, also not a lot of possession time. I mean, a lot of defense was played. 50 first downs, 64 minutes, equal on both sides. This was just a very odd kind of like outcome. As you can see here, a lot of penalties though, 13 penalties. Not a lot of punts for the Bengals, but this Jake Browning, he got the job done. Huge win for the Bengals. I needed that for the Broncos there. That's all the games for this week. Like I said, I am sorry I did get this video out a little bit late. So today, as I am recording this is Friday, so the next week has already began. I will say though, I was gonna pick the Steelers anyway, so don't come at me saying like, oh, you're cheating, blah blah. Like, no, I was gonna pick the Steelers. I'm glad the Steelers lost, but yeah, I did get that first game wrong. With the 12 o'clock games, we have the Panthers and the Saints. I have the Saints. Like I said, I'm not going to pick the Panthers until they kind of show me something. So I feel like the safe pick here is going to be the Saints. But, let's see what the Panthers can do. Next, we have the Rams and the Ravens. This is going to be a close one, man. I believe the Ravens were on bye. Ravens are on bye. The Rams are coming off of a big win off of the Browns, but you know what? I think I'm gonna pick the Rams, but I would not be surprised if the Ravens won this game. Next, we have the Colts and the Bengals. This is also a toss-up because I wasn't expecting Jake Browning to play that great. Plays great. Colts kind of struggled with the run. I think the Bengals got it, man. I don't know why I'm thinking that, but the Colts can very easily kind of go out there and win. But I'm picking the Bengals. Jags and the Browns. I'm picking the Jaguars. I just feel like the Browns aren't equipped enough. Yeah, Joe Flacco had a great game, but I just feel like the Jaguars are a little bit better than the Browns, you know what I mean? So, yeah. Next, we have the Lions and the Bears. I mean, the Lions should have no business losing this game. I mean, no business not losing this game. Very easily can beat the Bears there. In Chicago, be that may. Next, we have the Bucs and the Falcons. I'm going to pick the Bucs here. I just feel like the Bucs are playing a little bit better offense. As you can see here, the Falcons could barely put up points against the Jets defense, but yeah. Next, we have the Texans and the Jets. I am picking the Texans there. I feel like the Jets have no chance. I need the Jets to win, though. I need them to win so bad, but I feel like that's not going to happen. Next, we have the 3 o'clock games with the Seahawks and the 49ers. This is a game where the 49ers should very easily beat the Seahawks. Should be no reason why they don't. But yeah. Next, we have the Vikings and the Raiders. I believe both teams are kind of coming off of a bye, if I'm not mistaken. Both teams are coming off of byes. Oh, this is going to be a close game, man. Close game. I think... I don't know. I think... the Vikings can win this game. This is a coin flip, but the Raiders can very easily win this game. I'm picking the Vikings here. Next we have the Chiefs and the Bills. I believe the Bills had a bye. The Bills did have a bye. Chiefs are coming off of a bad loss over the Packers. Hard to kind of see who's going to win this game, you know? It is in Buffalo. I mean, it's in Kansas City. I do feel like the Chiefs are going to win this game just with home field advantage. So I'm picking the Chiefs here, but I'm best believe I'm rooting for the Bills. Next we have the Broncos and the Chargers. I am picking the Broncos here. I just feel like the Broncos are a better team than the Chargers at the moment. I just feel like we're going to be able to lock down some of their people and put up some points. I feel like we're going to put up points this game rather than with the Texans. Next we have the Eagles and the Cowboys. This is going to be a pretty close game. Honestly, this is a coin flip in my opinion. The Cowboys have kind of been on a roll offensively, but in terms of defense, I feel like they just can't keep up with the Eagles. I don't know who to pick here. This is a very, very close game. In Dallas, rivals, I think I'm going to have to pick the Cowboys, man. Would I be surprised if the Eagles blow them out by 50? No. I just feel like the Cowboys are going to win this. For some reason, I feel like they're going to win this. They lost the first time. They could have very easily won the first time. I don't know. This just feels weird. I feel like the Cowboys are going to win. Next, we have the Giants and the Packers. The Packers at the Giants, I mean. I am picking the Packers here. I just feel like they're a better team right now. I feel like it's going to be pretty close, though. I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants won, I'll tell you that. But I just feel like the Packers are going to win this. Titans, Dolphins, come on, man. Did anyone else realize they're playing 2 Monday night games at the same time? Like, what is that? At least put one at 5 o'clock. Like, what? Why do I want to choose which Monday night to watch? Like, that's so stupid. Like, let me watch both. But yeah. So far, my pick percentage right now is 115 out of 193, 59%. I've kind of just stayed in that range. I feel like this week it's going to fluctuate, though. I hope it goes up, but I feel like it could very easily go down a lot. But we'll kind of see. As you can see here, the Cardinals and the Commanders are on bye. So, yeah. As you can see here, sorry if the sun was in my face the whole time. I didn't even realize that, but yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Like I said, sorry this video kind of came out a little bit late, had some things come up. As you can see here, kind of, like I said, rolling towards the end. AFC playoff picture is getting very tight. NFC, you can kind of see what it's going to be. Maybe the last 2 teams are kind of like toss-ups, but yeah. As you can see here, already 14 episodes in, having fun. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, or at least came along to just check it out. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'll see y'all next Wednesday, hopefully if no more delays. And I will see y'all later. Deuce.